Hi, my name is Steve Gerhardt, and thank you for viewing the reboot of the Unagi Observer. We were out of action for a while for major life issues, up to and including congestive heart failure on my part. All better now, obviously, so we're going to start again. For those of you who have not seen this channel before, basically all this is a review channel, movies, books, anime, manga, sci-fi, you get the idea, food. So we'll be doing this every other week, and hopefully you will enjoy it and find it informative. Okay, let's start off with Otakon.
Otakon was a lot of fun this year, but there was one big complaint, and it had to do with pre-registration, day of pre-registration. There was a lot of lines, and a lot of people didn't like the lines, and apparently there was people that were cut off at the end because at 10 o'clock there was still a line, but they couldn't give any more passes out, so a lot of people were upset about that. Just keep in mind, folks, that this is the Baltimore Convention Center, and we pretty much maxed it out with number of people showing up. And when you run a convention that size, you know, things like that are going to happen. You're just going to have to understand that and be prepared in the future for long lines when you're looking at a maxed out capacity venue. So just keeping that in mind next time for next year. Otherwise, the Matsuri Festival was actually pretty good. There was P-Lander Z there. I haven't ever seen them before. I've heard their music and I've seen videos, and it was a lot of fun. Had a lot of good time. It's a very interactive concert, especially with the human bowling. Well, actually, they don't consider themselves humans, but you get the idea. And there they go. So it was a fun time. I encourage you to see P-Lander Z in the future. The convention itself was awesome. I just can't say enough about it. There was really good panels this year. One of them had to do with the sake girl, who talked about obviously sake, alcoholic drinks. And if you ever get a chance to see her panel again, I strongly encourage you to do so. The other part of it was that the dealer's room was actually operational, unlike last year, 2013, that a lot of the credit card machines went down. But again, as always, interesting costumes, great cosplaying, and as you can see, this one right here was in particularly pretty amazing. They actually took about 20-30 minutes to actually set it up just to do that. But still, you know, it's a fun thing to do. It's money well spent, and it's going to be in Baltimore for a couple more years. Sadly, it's going to move to DC, but in the meantime. If you haven't gone, get your tickets. They've already announced next year's dates, so come to Otakon.
Alright, this little gem is called Koko Takes a Holiday by Karen Shea. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. This book takes place 500 years into the future, as many cyberpunk novels are. The young lady on the cover is a retired mercenary who is working a boy brothel on this place called the 60 Islands, which is basically a resort where any fantasy that you want, from the sublime to the ridiculous to the incredibly sadistic and violent, can happen. So she seems to live an idyllic life until someone tries to have her assassinated. And the rest of the book is basically her trying to survive that and figure out what's happening. If you're like me and you like a good cyberpunk story, then this is a good book. I will tell you that it's a little hard to read because the author tries to create a language that really isn't natural. That happens in a lot of cyberpunk books, where they try to create this slang, and it kind of sometimes doesn't work. And at the beginning of the novel, it kind of doesn't work. But if you can get through it, it's a pretty decent read. I would categorize this book as don't pay for the full price of it. If you can actually go to the library and get it for free, do that. If not, find a friend, or if you have to, go to a used bookstore and buy it for like $5 or $6. But don't pay full price for it. But it's a good light read. And again, if you're a cyberpunk fan, this is a good book to read. It's a good throwback. Otherwise, don't pay the $16.98 for it. Really, it's not worth that much.
If you're like me or around my age, you would remember a certain little anime that came on early mornings called Star Blazer. So this anime was about resurrecting the Battleship Yamato, turning it into a space battleship and sending it off to a distant planet to save mankind. Well, the live action movie, which was made in 2010, is the kind of the same deal. It's again, the plot is that Earth is being destroyed by aliens, and there's all these meteors that are causing problems and stuff like that. So they create the spaceship Yamato to go into space with its big, huge gun to this planet called Iskandar to find a way to reverse the radiation on planet Earth while fighting aliens all at the same time. Just like any movie, there's a romantic subplot. There are, just like in many of these Japanese live action movies, this kind of gets hokey. There's a long death scene at the end. Very typical. It takes about 20 minutes for the characters to die, and it's very sentimental and yada yada yada. In all, I would say go ahead and see the movie. It's just fun stuff to watch, and I encourage you to watch both the anime and the movie, if for nothing else than the schlock value alone.